economy down. It's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency is making this house a home for you and me.
Hello and welcome to Across Community Lines. My name is Latara Jones. I'll be your host for this program. And alongside me, I have Mr. Jones, who is my co-host. Today, we're presenting to you a webinar entitled Jobs, Where They Are and How to Get One. Mr. Jones?
This is the second of a three-part series. Please enjoy the program.
We'll be moving to our next panelist, which is Miss Mary Jo Gershio, who is the Director of Community Training and Development at Community College of Allegheny County. Good morning, Ms. Gershio. Oh, you're still on mute, Ms. Gershio.
You're on mute, Ms. Gershio.
I'll get better at this someday. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for inviting us. We're excited. Community College is excited to be here today. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll get right into it. Community College of Allegheny County Community Training Development. How did you become involved with this organization and this work?
Well, I started 36 years ago. Actually, I was 12 when I started. That was before the labor laws. So I was able to start when I was very young. It's just a little joke there. So I've been there for a while, and I've been in community training and development. And recently now I oversee our CCAC Braddock Hill Center. So for those folks in the East End that are wanting to, come to classes and, don't want to go to the big campus or live in the area and just want to take classes at Braddock Hills, we're here. And we do a lot of workforce training. Community training and development does a couple things. I actually have programs for people with disabilities. So we work with the Giant Eagle to help folks they have a program for people with disabilities that want to work at the Giant Eagle. So we work with them. We work with Ms. Higgins because we're doing projects for people who might be in the family support centers throughout Allegheny County. If they're interested in training, we've got some short-term training going on. We have apprenticeships. We have a landscaping apprenticeship. We have a mechatronics. We have a industrial maintenance or mechanics apprenticeship. So there's lots of opportunities for folks. We're in the community. We're here to help people get short-term training, or if they want to get a degree, a 2-year degree and transfer to another 4-year institution. So we're here to meet the needs of people, but most of the people that are in Allegheny County get trained in Allegheny County, work in Allegheny County, and live here their whole life. Most of us here are probably those individuals, so we want to make sure that we have the best working force there is, and we do the training to make that happen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. What does I guess you kind of spoke on this a little bit as far as the training what the training does. Are CCAC students guaranteed internships or entry-level positions with local employers?
Guaranteed is probably a strong word, but we partner with a lot of folks. And if you are successful, yes, there are employers out there. Employers want us to have, all of us to have soft skills. That's what they're most interested in. I mean, they want us to have a trade and a skill, but they're more interested, are we on time? Do we, follow the rules? Or do we have a positive attitude? All the soft skills, and then the employer will help, just like the Giant Eagle said. They work with you to make sure you get their exact skills. You know, we can train on software, but every one of our institutions and companies use different software. So if you have computer experience, they will teach you the software that they use. So it's about, you know, getting folks the skill sets, both soft and hard skills to get that position.
Yes, ma'am. Could you speak to some of the collaborations that you all have with employers in the region?
Sure, we have, with almost every small and large employer, we have connections with. Actually, we even have a website called Careers where employers can place their positions on our website so our students can go out there and look for those jobs. But we work very closely with them. You'll hear from Michelle in a little bit that she works with all the, you know, hospitals and nursing homes. We, you know, if someone wants to be a nurse aide in a month's time, you could be trained, and we work with every large and small hospital, nursing home in the area. I mean, that's our job, is to be out there in the community to see what the employers need so that our curriculum fits their needs. We're very, very flexible in terms of our curriculum to make sure that we're giving the people the right skills that they need for those jobs.
Mr. Covington, you're on mute.
I'm mute.
Just trying to, no, Ms. Gersha, would you be able to provide, I guess, some contact information of how people could reach you if they have any further questions or may want to join the training program with CCAC? How can people get in touch with you?
Sure. Do you want me to put it in the chat, or do you want me just to give the phone number? I'm happy to give that in the.
Both. If you could, Ms. Garcerio, put in the chat, and also for people who are listening and watching the webinar live, if you give your phone number, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, so you could reach me at the Braddock Hills Center at area code 412-501-0018. And my email address is MGUER, C as in Charles, IO at ccac.edu. Please, if you're looking for some training or you're looking for a job, the apprenticeships, we have apprenticeships, please, you know, employers want to hire you. You'll do your training through us, but you will be hired. So please call me. We can get you, you know, where you need to go. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we wrap with you, Ms. Gershow, what accomplishments are you most proud of? And can you share some goals that you have for this year?
Okay, sure. With my career, my proudest is, and I want to talk just a minute about this. We have programs for people with disabilities. So if you have a disability, we have 4 areas where it's only a 1-year training, not a lot of theory in terms of textbooks and tests. It's all hands-on. So if you want to be a nurse assistant, if you want to work in indoor, outdoor landscaping areas, if you want to be in food service, or if you want to be in like environmental services, housekeeping, and you have a disability, we work with OVR. And so OVR, if you have a disability, will actually help support that. And so will PA Career Link. So we all work together. Ms. Higgins and I were working on a project now to get people from short-term training into jobs. So my biggest excitement is that we've probably had in my career over 2,200 people with disabilities working in jobs. And on the personal level, I'm about 4'10", and I've run 17 marathons. So that's my personal accomplishment, if you will.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. One more question for you, Ms. Gershow. How has CCAC adjusted their programs due to the COVID-19 pandemic that we're still facing?
We're doing a bunch of different ways to learn. The majority of our classes are still online. However, we do have face-to-face classes. It's very difficult to be a nurse by doing it online. So, and same with chemistry, the sciences, the nursing assistant, they're primarily face-to-face. And then we have what's a hybrid. So you may come in once or twice a semester, but some of it's at home, some of it's, in person. We do Zoom, we do online. Instructors meet one-on-one with folks, but we have a very, very robust virtual presence that you can see an advisor, you can talk to a counselor, you can get tutoring, you can get library services, all of that is online, but we are open, we are following social distancing, everybody must wear a mask. And so our classrooms that might have held 20 people before might hold 8 or 10. So classes are smaller. And then we have some hybrids where some students are online and some are, if you have COVID, you can't come in, right? Or if you've been exposed, so you can join by Zoom and the others would be face-to-face. So there's a myriad ways, we have many modalities that folks, whatever their comfort level is with learning during COVID.
Thank you so much.
Back soon.
I hope so too. Thank you so much, Ms. Gershio. And I'm going to connect with you offline because I want to know your secrets to running marathons. I can only do 5Ks and I'm trying to work my way up. So we're going to talk offline.
We'll work on it. We'll be partners, training partners.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have Miss Michelle Tedder, who is the program manager for HPOG, which is also part of Community College of Allegheny County. Ms. Tedder is also a native of Pittsburgh. She holds a degree, Bachelor's of Science and a nursing degree from the University of Pittsburgh, and also a Master of Science in Nursing Education from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. She's also a professional life coach, trained by the Life Purpose Institute in San Diego, California, and is also board certified by the Center of Credentialing and Education. Ms. Tedder, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Oh, I have a crazy echo here. Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me. I echo what Mary Jo said, that we are very pleased on behalf of CCAC to be here to talk about this very important subject of people being able to connect and get training and jobs in the Pittsburgh area and hopefully beyond that. Mary Jo, I do want to know your secret for staying 25 all these years. So we'll talk offline one day about that. But at any rate, so yes, I am the project director for a program at CCAC called HPOG, and it stands for Health Professions Opportunity Grant. And it's a federally funded program that was designed to recruit and train people into certain healthcare professions. And it's actually a national program. We are one of 32 grantees across the US who were fortunate enough to land this grant. And we've been in existence since 2015. So it's a 5-year, we actually have an extended year. So we've extended into this year with the grant. And we were commissioned to train initially 463 students per year into various health professions, with the goal of moving underserved folks from insufficiency to self-sufficiency by giving them a trade into the healthcare professions. So, we've trained nurses. In the beginning, we were doing nurses, nurse aides, EMT, phlebotomy, medical coding and billing, certified electronic health record specialists, certified clinical medical assistants, and home health aide. And as we're beginning to wind down with the grant, we're no longer recruiting for nurses because they won't have enough time to finish, because the end game is that we would train them and get them jobs. And so we have, successfully done that for, I think probably about 1,100 students at this point since we've been in existence. So the way the program works is that there was a certain eligibility criteria that students have to meet. They have to be low income. Initially, it was only Allegheny County, but we've expanded into Washington County at this point. They had to be able to pass a criminal background check and meet the income guidelines. And so we have just really, I feel, done an exceptional job of being able to recruit people into health professions that otherwise would not have had the opportunity. And the great thing about this program is it provided support services like transportation, books, uniforms, all of the barriers that people usually have to face when they're trying to go to school. This grant enabled us to be able to remove those barriers so that you could get a free education and also have those wraparound services provided for you through HPOG.
Now, Ms. Tedder, for people that are interested in learning more about HPOG or the things that you do, how could they contact you? Do you have a office phone number or an email address that you may be able to share with all the viewers that would like to get in touch with you regarding HPOG?
Yes, so there's multiple ways. So they can go to our website. They can go to ccac.edu, and on our homepage, on the sidebar, Pathway to Success in Healthcare is our CCAC's official program with HPOG. You can get to us that way. If you click on that link, it will tell you all of the programs that are covered under HPOG, tells you the eligibility requirements, and there's even a link that you can go to and apply right there online. So you don't even, you can skip you can look if you're eligible and apply right there. You can also call our office at 724-325-6881 to get more information. And if you want to contact me directly, you can contact me by shooting me an email at mtedder, and it's M as in man, T as in Thomas, E, D like in David, D again, ER at ccac.edu.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, as the program manager for HPOG, we're all having to change and alter things because of this pandemic. But could you share some challenges that your program has faced when it comes to recruiting or even retaining CCA students in this program?
Yes, well, obviously, when the pandemic hit last March, we had to pivot very quickly because, we had a hybrid of, we had some online programs we were offering. As medical coding and billing is all online. But of course, we have nursing students who are still matriculating through our program. Nurse aid has probably been the biggest challenge because the mitigation factors, and there's some regs with the nursing homes allowing students to train in the pandemic. That's loosening up. But I would say that we've done, I feel, a really good job of pivoting and helping the students. We actually went back to our federal funders, and we created a program to be able to provide laptops to those students who needed it in order to transition to online programs. So we increased the number of online offerings that we had at that time in order to be able to accommodate and recruit more students to be able to take advantage of the programs that we have offered under HPOG. So, it has been, I think, an opportunity to creatively think outside of the box, to figure out how to still do good work in this strange space that we all find ourselves in. So, I tend to be someone who thinks of the glass as half full rather than half empty. So though we're living in a pandemic, I think it has created opportunities for businesses and educational programs to find creative ways to do what we're doing today. That we're in cyberspace, but we're still trying to get the word out that there's still hope and there's still a way to access opportunities to advance yourself in your career and provide for your family.
Mr. Covens, I do have a question for Ms. Tedder. Ms. Tedder, could you please give an example of how you have grown through uncertainty and pass it on to the students and staff that you work with at Community College of Allegheny County?
How I've grown personally or
Yes, ma'am.
professionally?
How do you prefer personally and professionally to encourage the students because they utilize your example?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. For me personally, I tend to draw a lot on my faith. And so I have intentionally practiced a lot of self-care um, uh, practices in terms of leaning into practicing some mindfulness techniques. I do a lot of that. My clinical background in nursing is in mental health. So I don't see mental health as a separate your physical health being separate from your mental health. So I have intentionally done things to nurture that part of myself, because I feel like if we don't have healthy minds, we won't have healthy bodies. So I get up every morning, I pray, I read devotionals, I exercise, I try to eat right, those kinds of things personally. From a professional standpoint, I really try to encourage my team. I try to encourage others, anybody that I come in contact with, to not think about, it's not about ignoring the fact that we are in tough times, but it's in looking for opportunities to make lemonade out of lemons, if you will. And so I think that sometimes we find that some of the best work, some of the most creative ideas, and some of the most life-changing things that we have and we use today have come out of very difficult times. And so I think that this is not any different. We're living in a pandemic for sure, but I believe that many businesses are being birthed in this time. I think that many processes that are new and innovative are coming out of this time because we're being challenged. So, I say that if we can look at the bright side of this, even though we're all holed up in our houses and we're all tired of not being able to, go out all the time as we will, if we can just stop, breathe, do a little bit of self-care, think about the positive, write down a few things that you're grateful for in this space. We really are very resilient people as a whole, and we can recover from this. We will recover from this. We are recovering from this, and we will continue to thrive as individuals, as families, as communities, and as a people.
Wonderful.
So I hope that was helpful.
Indeed.
That was very helpful. I want to return the moderating duties back to State Representative McGaney, who is back with us to conclude Ms. Tedder's portion of the panel.
Ms. Tedder, first, that was powerful. That was powerful, and it was uplifting because I think you hit on a lot of keys, and one is just the spirituality and beginning the day to just asking for thanks for another 24 hours is powerful. So what question did we leave off on, Mortet?
So question number 4, which was, what do you / students like most about the HPOG program?
Okay, I'll let you answer that one, and then I'll go to number 5.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the full question.
Oh, what do you and the students like most about the HPOG program?
So I think that the students definitely like the fact that there's so much support that's wrapped up into this program. As I said, we provide the wraparound services. Every student is assigned a student support specialist, so they have access to someone one-on-one to support them throughout their journey once they're into the program. And the other thing is that we offer support like childcare, transportation, uniforms, books, their tuition's paid for. So all of those things that typically, you have to kind of try to figure out when you come to school, those things are provided to them through this grant. So that is definitely one of the many things that students give feedback about that they're so grateful for.
We want to thank you. Do anybody have any questions?
Yes, we do have actually one question. So could you tell us what HPOG means?
What it stands for?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You must have missed that earlier. It stands for Health Professions Opportunity Grant. That's
Thank
what the
you.
acronym is for. And at CCAC, it's our program, because like I said, there's 32 HPOG programs across the country. But ours at CCAC is Pathway to Success in Healthcare. So if you go to the website at ccac.edu, and on the sidebar, the left sidebar, you'll see Pathway to Success in Healthcare. If you click on that, that's what will get you to our homepage. That'll give you all of the information about the project.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you so much. Ms. Jones, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, no, I'm just loving it. I'm Representative Gainey. Everyone, it's inspirational. And because you know what, we're ahead of time. So we'll get a chance to ask our panelists what inspires them, because this is what it's about, encouraging people. But we do have Mr. Odell Richardson.
So,
He's next, Representative Gainey.
so I see you don't have a bio, but Mr. Richardson really doesn't need a bio. He's been a leader in this city for quite some time. You know, he's always pushing forward to try to be so inclusive in these communities. Wherever he's worked, really, he's more of an entrepreneur, to be quite frank, than he is an executive director. He's a great executive director, but he's always been on the cutting edge of entrepreneurship and teaching entrepreneurship. And I think that's reflective in his children as well. That's what you see when you talk about Odell Richardson. So he's done a great job at Pittsburgh Community Service, Inc. He's done a wonderful job. We're lucky to have him there. I've watched his career through the years, and I've just continued to watch him grow. So without further ado, Mr. Odell Richardson.
Almost started. Thank you, Representative Gainey. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the invitation to participate in this workshop. We can just start with the questions because it's going to flow. Hopefully I won't be too verbose, but let's get started. Go ahead with the questions.
Okay. One is, tell us about the Pittsburgh Community Service, Inc. and how did you become involved with your organization?
Okay, so just to give you a bit of background, I grew up in Hazelwood. I left home when I was 15 years old. I've been on my own since I was 15. I was plucked out of Pittsburgh and dropped in a private school in Concord, New Hampshire. I had determined that I'd always wanted to be an architect. So I had the opportunity to go to the top design school in the world. I graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design with a degree in architecture. My first career, which was very busy and very successful through the 80s, was in commercial construction. Also, one of my interests that's been a passion is housing. And I've been kind of on the cutting edge of new housing ideas. And so I had a dream in the late 1980s. And I figured out how to build affordable housing. Old technology, but a new way of using it. As it happened, I came back to Pittsburgh after 20 years and started a family and decided that it was time for me to give back. And this was at the same time that the gang things were happening in Pittsburgh. And I got in social service and figured to understand a thing, I would start at the bottom. I was a residential counselor at a group home for young men in East Liberty. And I worked my way up through the ranks. But I had a lot of transferable skills. I had run a manufacturing business, a multi-million-dollar manufacturing business that I built in New Jersey. In 2000, I became the director of what was then called PYC, Pittsburgh Youth Collaborative. I worked at the Urban League under Esther Bush. And 5 years later, I left, I had a business going, came back to Pittsburgh, wound up being the director of employment. One of the focuses there was a program. We got funding from the federal government to come up with a model for, at the time, we'll call them reentrants. I developed probably one of the most successful reentry programs in the state. They studied it for 2 years. They gave me $146,000. They couldn't figure out how, even though I was supposed to get 35 individuals employed, I got over 300 employed and still couldn't spend the money down. So they wanted to figure out how I did it. One of the things that I studied was really how the systems and program services work in the city of Pittsburgh, in the county. And what I learned was in between the silos of service provision was a lot of opportunity to connect up folks with different services. And that's all I did. The individuals that came in, we did an assessment, and I was able to plug them into other services, but they always came back to me. I convened a panel of entrepreneurs, as Ed shared. That kind of being an entrepreneur, being a business, I've always had a hustle my whole life. Something. I have one now, even though I'm executive director here. I have what's my therapy on the weekends. I have an antique business. I collect antiques, sell antiques. I always have to have something going. But I had a panel of entrepreneurs outside the city of Pittsburgh. And I convinced them to hire these individuals that have records. And I was able to get over 300 individuals employed very quickly, and they maintained their employment. So we had something. I went from the Urban League. I was vice president of YWCA. 10 years ago, I decided it was time for me to kind of step out. So I went on a 5-year hiatus, walk with God, and really just kind of do an assessment of kind of what's happening. As it happened 4.5 years ago, and this is kind of for me, kind of why. 4.5 years ago, actually interviewing for this position, I didn't realize I was in the throes of having a heart attack. I had a heart attack a week later on my oldest son's birthday. I wound up having to have a quadruple bypass. While they were stitching up my heart, the cardiologist found some infection. Sent it out. When I went in for my first checkup, he told me I had cancer. So I was home for a week after the heart surgery, and the board said, "Look, Liddell, we want you to be executive director." And I said, "Well, I just had a heart attack. I don't know when I'm going to be able to come back." He said, "Take whatever time you need. We want you." And that was the confirmation for me about PCSI. And I'll tell you why. PCSI is the Community Action Agency for the city of Pittsburgh. We've been here for 38 years. Before 1983, there was Community Action Pittsburgh since 1964. Community Action was born out of the civil rights movement in the 60s. And when President Johnson declared the war on poverty, a line item in the federal budget funded, there are 1,000 community action agencies across the country. There are 43 in the state of Pennsylvania. We have one mandate, and that's to work with individuals that live at 125% of the poverty level and below, to move them from poverty to self-sufficiency, literally by any means necessary. The money that funds community action across the country is the most flexible money in the federal budget. We have more flexibility than the military does with their budget. Community action is a mission, and after I got one, I survived the heart attack and the surgery. Next, I had cancer. My first day I started, my first day of chemo, when I started this job. And you look at my picture, that was actually taken kind of my first or second day here, okay? This job means the world to me. It is fundamentally what gets me up. I worked 10, 12 hours a day when I started, every single day. I was never sick. I lost my hair. I never lost weight. Never lost my appetite. Helping people, working with people, serving people. That's what we do. That's what community action is about. That's how I came to be here. Quite honestly, I didn't know fully about community action until I prepared myself for this position. But everything else, and this has been a culmination where I am now. This has been a culmination of all the activity, because I use everything that I've learned in my entire life in this position to help people and make a difference.
Actually, you answered 2B, so I'm gonna go to 2A. Please share with us the workforce development, employment, career training and placement PCSI provides to community members.
I will talk about the workforce development piece, which is something that's really kind of blown up for PCSI in the last 4 years. But as a community action agency for the city of Pittsburgh, PCSI provides not only workforce development training, we provide case management, food. PCSI funds 9 food pantries around the city. We have 2 locations, one here in Oakland, one on the south side. Each one of these locations is a food pantry. Our goal and responsibility, and I should be clear about this, we're the designated community action agency for the city of Pittsburgh. Our purview is all 90 neighborhoods. My goal, and one of my goals being here, is to really expand the reach and touch that PCSI has to, if not all 90 neighborhoods, at least 50%, 60% of those neighborhoods. A lot of neighborhoods don't necessarily require our services, but everybody's eligible for our services. So we fund food pantries, we do the workforce development, and contained in a lot of those activities, we provide a bi-weekly housing list. We're going to be moving into doing some more direct activity around housing. I won't talk too much about that right now, but there are some things that are going to be happening later on in the year with that. Our workforce development piece has been something that we have very strongly built up. One of the things that, and one of the phenomena that we encounter is that probably 80% of the people that we work with, our customers, have a background. So in addition to the workforce development activities that go on, we've had to pivot, and I'm going to just kind of, I won't step on the question. I did review the questions, but I'm going to kind of step on that a little bit. We have developed partnerships with dozens and dozens and dozens of employers. Giant Eagle, CBS, PNC, those are the big ones, but we have just lots of partnerships and employers. We have a long list of employers that are reentrant friendly, and not even along kind of those lines, our training and focuses in construction skills development, customer service. We work with actually PA Career and Partner for Work. Okay, a host of our trainings are certified and approved in the Career system. Let me see. Oh, okay. So we do the food access, housing support. Our funding allows us to provide things for our customers like transportation, bus passes, clothes. We work with getting folks into both the unions. We have a partnership now with ABC, because what's coming down the pike is a lot of construction work that's not necessarily with the unions. We're partnering with the ABC group, which is a non-union side of the construction business, and with our entry into housing and housing construction, we're looking to build a cadre of individuals with, as you mentioned, carpentry skills, electrical skills, plumbing, that kind of thing. And we will be actually opening up a training center on the West End in the next couple of months to provide hands-on construction training.
Okay. As the executive director of PCSI, could you share with us the challenges you've had this year dealing with COVID-19?
Probably the biggest challenge was pivoting from most of our work is done face to face. So the pivot from doing face to face work to really kind of on a dime, how do we transition to the virtual world? How do we kind of maintain that contact with our customer base? And probably one of the biggest things also was food. So just prior to the shutdown, we had 2 full pantries. So I made a decision that we were going to basically do as much as we can to empty the pantries. Didn't know how long the shutdown was going to last. But then with funding 8 other pantries around the city, the problem of getting food to those pantries and then getting the food to the customers. What we encountered is that even the local food pantries, while they were distributing food, they were actually having a problem encouraging people to come out. So through the COVID-19, a couple of things happened. One of the biggest things that happened is Community Action received $1 billion, the CARES Act funding. And that was distributed across the 1,000 agencies across the country. We were awarded a substantial amount of CARES Act money, which we're in the process now of addressing. But what that provided was an opportunity for us to actually effectively rethink how we do things and create the opportunity for some changes that we're now implementing. One of the things that we're doing is there are communities in the city that we haven't been able to really touch. And one of my goals is to help build capacity in communities around the city. So I partnered with the Forbes Fund. I'm putting $300,000 into the Forbes Fund to focus on specifically building capacity for community-based organizations that basically need assistance and have the opportunity to grow. Some are new that sprang up during the shutdown, and others have been kind of struggling along. And what I'm looking to do is help develop those community-based organizations, help them build capacity so that they can become our community partners and be an extension of the services that we provide to the city. I don't want to be able to have to create an infrastructure. If I can support a community-based organization, help them get up on their feet, and then we can partner and go after resources. That's one thing. Also, we developed a very strong social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Our workforce development department has created TikTok videos. We have 25 YouTube videos, instructional videos on everything from how you dress, interview skills, just kind of your attitude during the interview. A host of those. We have followers. I think at this point, the workforce development department across all of our social media platforms, including our Facebook, we have 53,000 hits. We get 2,000 or 3,000 every week. It's actually, they have just kind of blown that presence up for us. And now we're moving into a couple of things that I'm actually very happy with. We've been involved with the record expungement effort the last few years. And we were made aware last year of the pardon effort that was happening out in Philadelphia. This is basically for individuals that have long-term records that keep popping up on their when background checks happen. It was a very successful, and it's a very successful program that happened around the Philadelphia area. We brought it here to Pittsburgh. We started the first pardon hubs, and pardon looks at being able to have the governor pardon certain charges that come up on your record longer than 7 years ago. We know that having a record, and when they do a background check, that becomes kind of an potentially automatic barrier to employment. So we started doing the pardon hubs. We do them quarterly. In fact, we have this quarter's pardon hub coming up next Thursday. It's a 2-year process. Thus far, with this whole process across the state, over 500 pardons have been granted. We're trying to get the pipeline filled while Governor Wolf is in office. So we are actually also now recruiting for that training. We're doing an in-person event on the 4th on our South Side location. This is something that is a 2-year process for it to happen. So we're trying to get as many people into the pipeline as is possible. At this point, we probably have more than 50 people already in the pipeline on their way toward getting a pardon. That's one thing that we're very pleased with. And then we have a number of other activities going on, especially in the workforce development around our training and getting people employed.
Mr. Richardson, could you please provide a phone number where people can reach you?
Well, I'll give you my phone number, but the best number, 412-904-4700, 4700.
Yes, thank you for watching the second part of Across Community Lines. Mr. Jones?
Yes, this is the second part. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you will stick around and enjoy the third and final segment of this program.
With the economy down, it's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency is making this house a home for you and me, backed by what we do and how I love and respect you. Loan modifications are for houses, but there's no foreclosures on this home. We own this, no loan on this. You're my 401k, my retirement, everything I own invested in your feelings, wide awake and sleeping with my future on this. It'll take more than a depression to hold down elevated consciousness. I just pray that kindred souls everywhere are able to bear witness and feel this. With the economy down, it's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency is making this house a home for you and me, backed by what we do and how I love and respect you. Loan modifications of our houses, but there's no foreclosures on this home. We own this, no loan on this. You're my 401k, my retirement. Everything I own invested in your feelings. Wide awake and sleeping with my future on this. It'll take more than a depression to hold.